Okay, you're welcome to this class. This is working with ArcGIS classification. Course code is CIS GIS 002. This is the second video on this module. The first module we explained the use of GIS as generally Geographic Information System, what it's all about and all that. So this is the first video introducing us to the use of ArcGIS as a software. You know, there are so many benefits from the use of Geographic Information System software these days. As far as you're into environmentals, you're into geosciences, you're into security, you're into urban planning, you are into mapping, you are into geography, all sort of kind of earth-related issues. ArcGIS is a must for everyone, especially ladies that are actually into environmentals, management and resource management and all that. There are so many layers, so many things you can do. It can depend on the level where you are. You can start gradually and progress to being an analyst, a professional in the use of these tools. And this tool is recommended for almost all sort of environmental and water issues. So GIS is used all over the world to achieve various tasks from managing the environment and offering better services. It allows the user to carry research and study practically every such as land, climate, environment, natural resources, populations, and all that. So this video will teach you the fundamental concept of using ArcGIS and the major functionality that are actually contained in ArcGIS desktop. You will work with variety of ArcGIS tools and you will learn how to create color-coded maps, query and solve a variety of spatial problems. ArcGIS desktop is also a collection of software products for building comprehensive GIS. So that means that in ArcGIS is a collective name actually for three products: for ArcView, for ArcEditor, and ArcInfo. These products have the same interface and share some of their functionalities in common. So GIS is made up of layers or themes that makes maps in GIS. So you can add many layers as you want, and layers may be containing some features or some images. So in this section, you will need to pay attention to understand the component of the most advanced ArcGIS desktop, which is the ArcMap, the ArcCatalog, and the ArcTool box. So the objectives, about 8 objectives we want to get involved in, want to actually understand for the end of this lesson. Number 1 is how to explore GIS map and get your information and map features, how to preview your geographic data and metadata, how to add your data to a map, then describe the structure of GIS map, explain how a GIS represents real-world objects, then change the way features are drawn on a map, access features information in different ways. Then we'll have to look at describing special relationships of map features. So in this section, we're going to focus on 3 components of the most advanced ArcGIS desktop, which is the ArcMap, the ArcCatalog, and the ArcTool box. The ArcMap makes up is used to make map from layers or spatial data. In ArcMap, you choose your colors, you can symbolize, you can query, you can analyze spatial relationship and design map layouts. While in ArcCatalog is actually used to browse spatial data contained in different locations, like in the hard disk or in a network area or on an internet, or search for spatial data. You can preview them in ArcCatalog. You can create features and metadata. Then the ArcTool box, which is the third one, is very important. This is the tool itself. This is where all the tools that you use to perform every kind of functions, different analysis, ranging from converting spatial data from one format to another, projection data, interpolation, analysis, and many others. So this is actually what the tool box does. But as we go on, even after this module, in the next video, you're going to be learning more and more of ArcTool box. There are so many things that are actually involved in ArcTool box. Then the overview of this lesson, we first of all need to understand working with ArcMap and ArcCatalog, how that actually works. You look at the view of them, then you understand how to create the thumbnails. Thumbnails, we actually know, is just a snapshot to give you overall information of a particular data, what the data or image actually contains. So you have to learn how to use the search windows to get search for any data and all that, then changing names of layers and symbolizing the layers, and finding and creating a bookmark. Then the essence of use of relative paths, which is very, very important. When you don't actually check your relative paths, sometimes when you change your data from their location, you find it difficult actually to connect back. So another one is understanding saving, how you can save your map documents and give them some property names. Then another one is changing the symbol of a map layers and tips on how to do that. The ninth one is how to label a layer and other. You learn how to do your labelings of different kinds. Then creating your bookmarks. And also, okay, here, classifying a layer. So here you're going to save this and this actually interwoven. Then let's look at what we need to do as a matter of introduction in this video. So the fundamentals and the concept of GIS and the major functionalities that are actually contained in ArcGIS desktop is definitely what you will learn. So as I've just said, these are the three major things we're going to look at: the ArcMap, the ArcCatalog, and ArcTools. So ArcGIS is a collection of a software product that is actually involved three products: the ArcView, the ArcEditor, and ArcInfo. So in ArcGIS, it's made up of different layers and different themes that you can actually see. Bringing layers upon layers and adding layers and layers as you would actually require. So I will want you to actually pay very good attention as we just do some of this introduction and go into the software itself for you to learn and see how some of these things work. So in these practical lessons, we're going to take it step by step. The first one, we're going to launch our ArcMap, connect our directory where some of the data is actually involved. Then we'll show you how you're going to do some searchings and do your thumbnails. Then also how to create layers and give a name to some of the layers properly, create a bookmark, find it, and order. Then do your classification, and you can also do some symbologies and order. Finally, you'll be able to see how you can switch between your data view and your layer view depending on actually what you want to see. Then I want to throw more light on this setting your relative paths. Relative path in a map specify the location of the data contained in the map relative to the current location on the disk of the map document itself. A relative path don't contain drive names. They enable the map and its associated data to be moved to any disk drive without the map having to be repaired. So if you don't set the relative path, you have yourself to blame when you are moving your map document from one directly to another. So that's why it's very good you set your relative path. Otherwise, you will start seeing some a kind of exclamation red mark on the side of the document showing that it has lost its path. So to avoid it, it's actually highly recommended that you set your relative paths while you are working with map documents. And here we search for ArcMap. So this is our ArcMap 10.7. We'll load our ArcMap. So now we are launching our ArcMap 10.7. This is actually done by X-Ray. Then after launching our ArcMap, we'll try to see, we'll try to see how to browse our directory. You see, when this ArcMap, it has launched. When you launch the ArcMap, it shows, it shows the first window of every other previous work you've done before you've actually opened. You can see different names of the work I've done, I've opened. So anyone I click now, it will open that. But if I don't want, I can close it and it will just be a blank kind of, nothing is here. This is a new untitled ArcMap. So I've launched the ArcMap. So the next thing is, when you launch your ArcMap, what is the next thing? There's no data in this environment. So it requires data depending on what you want to do. So it requires data. So we will see how we can launch data. So remember that your data are actually contained in different locations. So look at this button here. This is what we call add data button. This is add new data to the map active data frame. So for you to add anything here, you need to possibly go here and add your data depending on where they are located. So for this, my data is actually located in this folder called GIS My Project, which is known as GIS My Project. You can see all various kind of data that actually found in this. So what do? I can now say, okay, let me add this data. I can click this data, can click this, can click this, holding control and clicking all the data I want to add. This is the data I want to add to them. This is the data I want to add. You see, this is various data I want to add. So let's assume I've chosen this. I can say add. So you see what it's saying. So some of the data I've added say I'm missing spatial reference information. This data can be drawn in ArcMap but cannot be projected. Now what is it trying to say here? Some of the data I've added here, some of the spatial references are not actually defined. They are not the same thing with other data, are not the same thing with the data frame data. So at this now, I can still add them, but I cannot project them. So what I'll do is that I can add them. For now, you're going to still know how these things are done in future. So let's add this. When we add this, you see the whole data are added in the table of contents. You can see the whole data added. You see the whole data added. You can see the whole data added. Yeah. This is the data. This is data. I can zoom to layer depending on actually what I want to zoom to layer. If I click and say zoom to layer, I'll see the data. So this is the entire sum of the data I've added. So if I check any of this, depending, I can actually go in here, and if you see, I can say turn all layers on or off. All layers will go off. So that means all the data, you can't see anyone, all of them are checked on. So from here, I can turn anyone on. I can say on or off. You see, anyone I turn on now will appear. So if I want to zoom to exact layer, I can say zoom to layer. So you see, I can see this is the main page. Then look at this. I can say turn this on, turn this on. So anyone I turn on, it will appear. So that is how you add in data. So this is just adding our data. Then on this, we'll look at how do we use our search buttons. There are two ways here. The search button, you can look at this location. You can look at this, you can use this. Also look at this. Click this can also appear. So our search buttons, you can see you can search in a map. You see, you can search your data. In all data, you can search as a tool and images. So if most time you can leave it here, means all. So depending on actually what you want to search for. Okay, let's search for data. Now, local search, Now, if you go to local search, now you can see from here, you can see search options. Within the search options, in the index, you have to index what you are searching. Like I can see that this is in C drive data. It means that whatever I'm searching is in this file. This is the file directory. I can register other folders and server connections where it can search from. So I can add in any file from my system or from the folder, which folder I want to search from. Let's I add this. You see, it has added. It means that it can search from that also. And I say create thumbnails. If I uncheck this, the thumbnails will not be created when it found the actual data. So when this is actually clicked, the thumbnail will be seen. So now I can say, okay, this is within the areas where you will search. So I can apply this and say, okay. So I'll go back to my search result and type in whatever I want to search. Let's assume I put in Osina, for example. Let's see what we can have. You see, say Osina. You see. Now what it has done is that I brought in everything that has the name written here. So it depends on what I'm looking for. It has found it, even though if you look at this, you can see I didn't load this. I didn't load some of the data, but it has found all this data in the folder. You can see, and you can see the thumbnails. These are the thumbnails. You see, it's showing you the content of each one as a thumbnail. So within here, you can actually see, this is very, very important when you are dealing with huge data. So you can see all data that are contained in that folder that is bearing part of the name which you've typed in here. So you can look at them and see all the, so anyone you actually clicked on, if you say, okay, let's click on this or this, or this, it adds that too. Have you seen it? That is this. It will add that. Then let's say another one here is RAM. You understand? It will add the RAM. You see? If you say, see, this one is already added. You see, that is the RAM or it will add it. You see, so that is actually what to do and how to you can actually search your data. So then that is it. You can close here. Then the next one is you want to see how you can integrate all your data and do some kind of symbologies. Okay, let's look at the next one. Is we can look at all the datas, and if we toggle them, they keep coming out. On and off, data will keep coming out. So this is the data we have here. Then the next one is, let's look at how we can do our symbology. How we can do symbology. Okay, we can say all the data turn off. Okay, we've turned off all the data. Now let's look at this. This is an extent. This is just a polygon showing an extent of where certain work is done and all that. Then let's look at if we're turning any other one on. Let's turn this one on. Okay, let's turn on and turn this on. Okay, now let's look at this settlement here. This is the settlement. You can see the settlement on and off. Okay, on the settlement, symbology means you can actually give different symbols to this, to each of the data. Now, you can change several things here using this. Assuming we want to make this thing hollow, we don't want it to be. We can say, okay, becomes hollow. You see, we can also say no, we want to make it yellow without boundary. We can make it yellow without boundary. We can say, okay, we want to change different kind of symbols. Another, we want to make it open pasture, we'll make it. See, so that is it. We say we want to change this to this format. We say that is it. Then you can do so many things. You can change the outline width from here. We want to change the outline width, the width will increase. We can change. We can even reference our styles and all that. Then we can even also edit the symbol if we actually want to edit the symbol. Even the line features, we can edit the line features from here. And even the angles of this line can actually be. So we can do a whole lot of things within this particular symbol property editor. So that is how you can actually change some certain things. Then you can also use symbol. Here you can do some search. Whatever you want to search. Then let's assume you want to search for settlement. There's no settlement. You say, okay, let me see house, something like that. You see, you can see some symbols representing certain kind of things. So say, assume you want to for the fracture. Is there any symbol? Say rock. You see, it bring all the symbols that has to do with different kind of rock, intrusive rock, volcanic rock, caves, rocket area, and something like that. So actually within here you can search for symbols and you can actually change that. Okay, then the next one, let's look at how you can change your layers. Now if you look at this, you can rename your layers. You can have different layers within your table of contents. You can right click here and we'll look at the property of this layer. We look at the property of this layer, the general, the data frame. At this location, you can see coordinate system. That means this layer is under UTM zone 32, 1982. So here we want to see how we can change layer. We can say this is learning GIS project. So if we apply, that means the symbol name is actually, sorry, the layer name is actually changed. So from here we can change it, so we can change it. You see, double again, we can change layers, change it back again. You see, so it actually depends on how you want to do it. So this is how you can change your layer. So that means in case you have different layers within here, you don't get confused based on the project you are dealing with. You can have project 1, you have project 2, project 3, you can have different layers being changed and all that. So this is actually how you can change your layer names. Then we look at our symbology. We can look at different kinds of how we can actually create our bookmarks and symbologies in terms of, okay, how do we do some classifications? Now let's look at this. So for the next one, we're going to look at is how you can label the label feature. So let's look at the label feature. You see, for example, if you look at the town here, if we check the town here, this town, they are not actually labeled. The label names are not there when we brought them in. So we can right click this and go to label feature. You can see label feature. If you click this, the town name will appear. This is Tara Ikuri and Fakuri Awai. So you can see that the town name are actually there. As we just said before, you can actually change your symbols of the town name. You can whatever and increase it and change the colors and all that. So you can see we've changed the symbol of the town name. Now, let's assume you're working with, you want to actually find out where the Itara is, except in a very big environment data, a lot of addresses, how you can find addresses registered in Arcgis or or a name or a particular name of, you can, from here you go to find a geographic feature or place or address, you see. So if we want to find this name Itara in this document, map document, we click, you see the name appeared, Itara. You click it, it flashes exactly where the town or what you're looking for. Let's assume you want to look for, this is Obuton as the town name. You find it appears, okay, it flashes. You can actually find any geographic name or address using this button. Then you can also bookmark it. If you actually come into it frequently, you can say create the bookmark. That is how you can bookmark it. You right click and you see create bookmark, which I've done, and that does it. So how can you manage your bookmark? You can go to bookmark and say manage bookmarks. You say you've actually saved it here. So whatever you bookmark will be in this place. You can zoom to it, pan to it, and all that. You can also remove it or remove all the bookmarks or load. So you can say, let's zoom to it. You see? So that is just it. You can zoom to where you have this. So this is actually how you do that. So you can also remove. You say, yes, you remove the bookmark. You can also remove that. So this is how you can show your whatever town or address you want to look at. Next one is we can look at our symbology and classification also. Now, let's look at this. We right click, what we've just done, you can right click, go to properties, and on this you can go to symbology. You see, you can go to symbology. In symbology you can see categories, features, you can see single symbols, categories, quantities, charts, and all that. So as we go on, you will understand how these things work. Different categories. How do you want to name? You want to actually name or symbolize, you want to actually classify certain things based on their object ID or based on their town name or based on the coordinate or based on, depending on the kind of value, the field you actually want to give it. So if you check this, say object name, you can remove all from here, or you can even add more values. So you check this, you apply, you can see it changes the symbol names. You see? Is that okay? Let's see what happened here. We'll now classify based on town name. Say apply. That does it. So now we can look at other ones. Let's look at our contour, for example. We can zoom to this, zoom, zoom to this layer, you see the contour here. The contour is actually not labeled, so label it. Right click and label it. Then you can see the symbology here, categories, single. So based on ID or contour, we'll label based on contour. Symbol here we can remove. See, all the contours have disappeared because of the symbol here. We remove them, and what we're having here is only the numbers we label. So you can see the classification here. You can say apply. So you see how symbology actually works. So depending on the field you actually want to add, you can add that field or remove the field from here. So here there are two value field here, the ID and the contour. Then you can look at other ones here. Let's look at this. Let's look at this contour here. You can actually change this from here. Let's assume you want to change something like this, single. Okay. Zoom to layer. You see the whole contours actually changed to red. This is on the symbology we used. You remember, change something, you want to categorize it. Okay. ID, symbol, apply, go. It's gone. Want to label it, we can apply it here and label. The label comes out, but the contour is nowhere to be found. Why? Just because we didn't click this. So you can see the contour comes out, based on the symbol. So if you want to change it back to red or black or whatever, you can do that, and you apply and you okay. So it changes and all that. So this is actually how you can work on your symbols, label, create your bookmark, look at search and all that using your ArcMap. So then let's look at your ArcCatalog. Your ArcCatalog, you can actually launch your ArcCatalog from here. When you launch it from here, it appears. This is actually showing you all the connections, how you can actually go to different kind of folders, go to different kind of data, link folders wherever they are actually located within your computer or your network or anywhere at all. So that is it. Then the next one we want to show you is how you can switch on your data. You can look at here. This is data view and this is layout view. Definitely when you're working, there are two views here. See layout view. In layout view, this is actually when you want to print, you want to publish your work. You have to do that in your layout view. So in the subsequent lessons, we'll tell you how the layout view actually works. But from here, you can switch between your data view and your layout view. With this, I think we can come to conclusion of this particular class. So in the next video, we will teach you how you go deeper to classifications and actually how to prepare your layout views and be able to publish your work. Thank you and keep learning.